class, today we will learn on a new chapter, which is chapter 6, Kingdom of Fungi. So, based on our lesson plan, today is week 7, and we will only learn on the general characteristic and also the 5 phyla of fungi. So, in fungi characteristic, we will learn about the lifestyle of fungi, their habitats, body plans, and also how does the fungi reproduce. So fungi are previously classified as plants. However, molecular studies suggest that fungi are more similar to animals compared to plants. And then, however, due to many differences between them and also the plants, and even differences between them with the animals and also protists, they are finally assigned to its own kingdom. Okay, as a single kingdom of fungi. So fungi are also eukaryotes, meaning to say they are a complex cell compared to prokaryote cell. So fungi are heterotrophs, same like us. They're different in method of obtaining food compared to human and other animals is that they do not ingest their food like us, but instead they will secrete a powerful digestive enzyme that known as exoenzyme. Once they secrete the azoenzyme, okay, the enzyme will be digested and then they will absorb the pre-digested food. So fungi lifestyles, which is referred to the way of obtaining foods, there are three types. We have saprophytes, parasites, and also symbionts. Saprophytes are fungi that obtain food from dead organisms and cause them to decompose. So together along with the bacteria, they will recycle the carbon, the nitrogen, and other important mineral elements in the dead organism. So another ways to obtain their food are through by being a parasite, in which they will cause a disease on animals and also in plants. They use the organic material from living organism and then it cause harm to the organism. Last is that they will form a symbiont with other kingdom members, such as with plants and maybe with other types of fungi. So this type of fungi have mutually beneficial relationships with other living things. So fungi do have cell wall. However, the cell wall are different with plant cell wall. Fungi cell wall is made up from chitin. Plant cell wall is made up from cellulose. So chitin is actually the component of external skeleton of insect and other arthropods. That's why fungi similar with plant at the same time it also similar with animals. Okay, they have cell wall just like a plant. However, the cell wall is made up from chitin. Okay, which is the component in the arthropods or insect. And their body plants have two different types. First is yeast and second is mold. For yeast, they look like a round and oval in shape and they are usually a unicellular fungi and they are reproduced through budding. And then the second type of fungi body plants we have mold. Mold is vegetative body plants which is called as a hyphae, and hyphae consists of long branch and thread-like filaments just like this. Okay, and hyphae form a tangled mass known as mycelium. Okay, here this mycelium functioning to increase the absorption surface area of the fungi so that they can get more source of um, organic source. Okay, so there are two types of hyphae. We have cenocytic hyphae and also septate hyphae. For cenoseptic hyphae, as you can see over here, they do not divide it into individual compartments. Okay, it is a single cenotypic hyphae. However, if septet hyphae, as you can see in figure A here, it is divided by wall. You can see the wall over here. Okay, that will causing them to become individual cell. This is become individual cell, one another individual cell, and etc. With one nuclei, some of them have two nuclei in one cell. Okay, here is another picture of how does the hyphae look like. So some hyphae are very special, such as the hyphae in mycorrhizal fungi. This hyphae, okay, they call as Haustoria that allow them to penetrate the tissue of the host. As you can see here, this is the example of septet hyphae because you can see the wall that divide each of the compartment, and then this hyphae, okay, extended to form a Haustoria that can penetrate, okay, the other cells of organism. And fungi can reproduce by two ways, either sexual and asexual reproduction. So fungi reproduce by spore that are non-motile. However, the spore later that will be produced can be dispersed by the wind, water, and also animals. Spores are usually produced by specialized hyphae or the fruiting bodies. Here, okay, the fruiting bodies, and this type of spore are sexual spore. Okay, and then we also have another type of spore, which is asexual spore, known as conidia, that form in specialized hyphae that called as a conidiophores, and they are also non-motile. Okay, so if sexual spore known as a normal spore, okay, if asexual spore known as a conidia. So this is how does the conidia looks like. The conidiophore will produce the conidia here. Okay, the non-motile spore that produced through asexual reproduction. So in fungal life cycles or fungi reproduction cycle, reproductive cycle, there are two important events that you have to understand and remember. The first one is plasmogamy. Plasmogamy is referred to the fusion of cytoplasm. Okay, fusions of the cytoplasm from two different strands of fungal hyphae that will lead to a dikaryotic mycelium. Because at first, one strand is haploid, another strand is haploid. They will fusion, combine together to form a diploid cell. And then karyogamy, uh, dikaryotic mycelium, okay? And then for karyogamy, the fusion refer to the fusions of the nucleus, okay? Following after the event of plasmogamy that will lead to a diploid stage. So let's see how does it look like. So they do have two types of reproduction, sexual and asexual reproductions. As you can see here, for sexual reproduction, they will undergo the plasmogamy first, which is referred to the fusion of cytoplasm to produce a dikaryotic mycelium, and also heterokaryotic mycelium, and then the nuclei of these two strands of fungal will fuse together in the process of karyogamy and producing a zygote, and this zygote will undergo meiosis and germinate again. For mycelium, remember, mycelium do have a asexual spore that known as a conidia, okay, and then the conidia will disperse and germinate, and the cycle will go again. So the fungi, the scientists believe that the fungi might be evolved from the flagellate unicellular protists, and although majority of fungi lack of flagella, the earliest lineage of fungi, which is referred to the cytrid in the phylum of Citridomycota, do have a flagella. Okay, now um, let's look on the classifications or the five phyla of fungi. First, we have phylum Cytridiomycota. The second is phylum Glomeromycota, Endomycorrhizae, and Cytrid is the example. What is this? Why does it move around? Okay, it's okay. So the third phyla is phylum Zycomycota, and then we have actually here is phylum um, Ascomycota, and the last phylum is phylum Basidiomycota. So now let's look on the phylum of Citridiomycota, the first phylum. Citriomycota, they obtain their food through saprophytes, okay, by being a saprophyte, and they can live in the legs and also in soil, and their cell wall is made up from the chitin, and they are differ from other fungi because they do have a flagellate zoospore. Okay, just like protists, they have flagella. Okay, thought to be the earliest in fungal evolution, most primitive one, because they are the one that most related to the protists. So an example of species or organism under the phylum of Cytrodiomycota is the cytrid. Okay, cytrid have a cell that called a rhizoid, in which this rhizoid cell of cytrid can absorb the nutrient from the host cell, and this cytrid is parasite and responsible to declining the frog population. By how? Okay, they will block the frog respiratory skin, so the frog will be suffocated, they cannot respire, and then they will cause the death of the frogs. Okay, and this infection that caused by cytrid is known as cytridomycosis. Okay, next, the second phylum of fungi is phylum Zycomycota. Okay, phylum Zycomycota include fast-growing moths, parasites, and also common cell symbionts. Okay, the zycomycosid, named for their sexually reproduced zygosporangia. The spore is known as zygosporangia, which are very resistant to freezing and also drying condition, and they can survive in a very harsh condition on in a very unfavorable conditions. So they are quite tough one. Okay, and this phylum Zycomycota also a decomposer of decaying plants and also animals, and then also in some insect, and their hyphae are cenotypic hyphae. Okay, remember cenotypic hyphae does not have a cell wall that the divide them into certain compartments. However, they lack of space. Okay, so zycomycete can reproduce by two ways, sexual and asexual reproduction. So first we're gonna look at the asexual reproductions. Asexual reproduction is that once the spore falls on the bread, okay, the spore that being dispersed by the wind or the animals, it will germinate and form a mycelium. Okay, it will form a mycelium and penetrate to the bread here, as you can see here. They penetrate the bread and they will absorb the nutrient. And then some of the hyphae, as you can see here, will grow up upward and develop a asexual spore here that known as a sporangia. And this sporangia will later rupture and release black asexual spore, and this black asexual spore will grow to the other parts of the bread. Okay, for the sexual reproductions of phylum Zycomycota, okay, the sexual reproduction occur when two hyphae of different type, positive and negative, grow very close together, and they will produce a hormone at the tip of the hyphae and to form a gametangia that will structure where the gamete forms. Okay, the gametangia will later fuse in the process of plasmogamy and then undergo the karyogamy process, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as you can see here. So after the nuclear fission occur, they will be develop a thick and protective outer covering, and they are very dormant. And when it germinates, it will produce a sexual spore. Okay, and then the spore later will germinate to produce haplohyphae. Okay, let's look on how does it looks like actually. So here, as you can see, spore, the black spore will disperse and germinate. It will form a mycelium. The mycelium will goes into the bread and absorb the nutrient, and some mycelium will grow upwards. Here is a mycelium that absorbs the nutrient. Some of them will grow upwards and produce a sporangia, and once it ruptures, it will release the spore. For sexual reproductions, it occurs when two types of different hyphae, which is positive and negative type, are close together, very close together. Once they're close together, they will form uh, hormones that known as a pheromones, and they will produce a gametangia. This gametangia later will cause the plasmogamy to occur. Plasmogamy is the fusion of the cytoplasm. After they undergo the plasmogamy, they will form a zygosporangia, and then this zygosporangia will undergo karyogamy, the fusions of the nucleus, and then the nucleus will undergo the meiosis process, and then they will form sporangium again. Okay, example of Zycomycota is Pilobolus, in which Pilobolus decompose the animal dung or the animal poo, and then they will the spore structure of the Pilobolus will bend toward the light, and then they can shoot up to 2 meters and consumed later by the cows. Okay, after they shoot, the grass will be consumed by the cows, and this will cause a dispersal of the spore through the cow. Okay. Okay, so Pilobolus can actually aim their sporangia toward the condition associated with good food source. Okay, example, if the good grass is on the left side, okay, they will shot their spore to the right side. Okay, and then once they shot up the spore, the grass at the right side later will be eaten by the cow and be dispersed by the cow. It's very clever, right? Okay, it does look like this. Okay, it is facing the light, or it's facing the good source of the nutrients. Okay, the third phylum of fungi is phylum Glomeromycota. Glomeromycota have only 160 species, very sedikit compared to the previous phylum, and they have the important group that form a symbiotic relationship with the roots plant. It's known as the endomycorrhizae. Okay, endomycorrhizae, they will form arbuscles. I will explain about this one later. And they do not reproduce sexually. So Escomycota, okay, they will produce spore, sexual spore, okay, that contain fruiting bodies known as ascocaps. Okay, they produce ascocap. Okay, and this phylum have vary in size and complexity, from unicellular cell to being multicellular fungi or morels. And then the hyphae is made up from septate hyphae, okay, where they have a cross wall, which is the wall between two cells have pores that allow the cytoplasm to flow from one compartment of cell to another compartment of cell. So ascomycete include plant pathogen, decomposer, and also the symbiont. As you can see here, it looks like this. It looks like small cup. It's very cute. Okay, they can be easily distinguished from other fungi because of the shape, and they have a spore reproducing organ. Here is known as the ascocarp. Ascocarp. Okay, this is it. So ascomycete, okay, also have two types of reproduction: sexual and asexual reproduction. First, asexual reproduction, they produce a spore known as a conidia that produce from a conidiospores. For sexual, they will have different mating strength, and they have ability to self-mate, and then just like a normal one, they will mating between two mating type, enteridium and also ascogonium, and they will undergo plasmogamy process. After plasmogamy process, okay, they will produce intertwining hyphae that call as that will later develop a fruiting body known as ascocarps, in which the ascocarp will contain lots of ascoops, and then these two nuclei of the ascus will undergo the karyogamy process, which is the fusions of the nuclei, and they will produce a diploid nucleus. And this structure later will known as a zygote. The zygote will undergo meiosis 1, meiosis 2 to form a 4 haploid nuclei, followed by 1 mitotic division, and then they will produce another 4 nuclei, resulting into 8 haploid nuclei, known as ascospore. Okay, and then they will release once the ascus is break open, and they will landing on suitable location, germinate, and form a new mycelium. Okay, let's look on how does the reproductions look like. First, let's look on the asexual reproduction. The conidia spore, the conidia pores will produce asexual spore that known as a conidia, and they will disperse, germinate, form a mycelium, and then they reproduce again the conidia spore. For sexual reproduction, occur between two different mating types. We have enteridium and also ascogonium. They can self-mate. After they self-mate, they will undergo plasmogamy, fusions of the cytoplasm, and then they will form ascus, a sac-like that is known as an ascus, and then the ascus, the nuclei of the ascus later will undergo karyogamy process, the fusions of nuclei. After they undergo karyogamy process, they will form a zygote, and this zygote will undergo meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, producing 4 haploid nuclei, and then we will undergo the process of mitosis to produce another 4 haploid nuclei. So total of it is 8 haploid nuclei, which is also known as ascospore. So this ascospore later will be dispersed germinate again and they will form again the mycelium. Okay, the the fourth phyla of fungi is phylum Basidiomycota. Basidiomycota include mushroom, surf fungi, corals fungi, puffball, and stinkhorns. Okay, they possess septate hyphae, meaning to say the hyphae is divided by septate. They are some of them are saprophytes lah. Okay, they can degrade lignin inside the wood, and some of them will form a symbionts. Okay, they do not form a parasite. Yeah, okay, as you can see here, this is the examples of basidiomycosis. This one is puffball, they will emit the spore here. So this phylum, some of them are fungi, parasites, in which that they can destroy the crops of wheat and also the corn, and they can also produce a toxin that can kill any organism that will wound them. Okay, and they can also form mushroom. You can eat the mushroom, very delicious, and they can produce fruiting bodies, which is, however, these fruiting bodies are very short life, and the above ground structure with mycelium are buried in the soil or decaying woods. That's why you can easily find them on the decaying food, and they are called a club fungi because they develop a club shape basidia that called as a basidium that exists inside the mushroom. So Basidiomycota, okay, here it undergo sexual reproduction only, in which, let's see, sexual reproduction occur between two difference of mycelium strand that will undergo the plasmogamy process. The plasmogamy will form a dikaryotic mycelium that will form a spore-bearing bodies. Okay, and then in response to environmental stimuli, the dikaryotic mycelium, okay, will produce a fruiting body, but basidiocarps that I mentioned earlier. Okay, and then they will form a sexual spore that known as a basidiospore. Okay, so each mushroom can be divided into two parts. They have the cap here, and then the stalk. Okay, that underneath, that have for the cap. For the cap, they have the underneath fine tissue that looks like a gills of a fish, and this is where the locations of the basidium located. Okay, so within the gills here, the young basidium will develop, is still in dikaryotic form, and then the basidium will undergo karyogamy, producing a diploid zygote, and then the meiosis take place. After meiosis take place, forming a four haploid, they will form a structure that known as a sterigmata, and then asexual reproduction is less common in basidium form. Mostly they are produced through the sexual spore. So let's look here. Start from here. The two mating types, okay, they will undergo their mate and undergo the plasmogamy. Plasmogamy fusion of the cytoplasm will produce a dikaryotic mycelium. Dikaryotic mycelium will produce a structure known as the basidiocarp. Basidiocarp will contain basidia that located in the gills here, the gills of the cap, and they are still in dikaryotic form. After that, they will undergo karyogamy process, fusions of the nuclei, and forming diploid nuclei. Undergo meiosis, they will form a 4 haploid nuclei, and they will produce basidium, and then basidium will produce a basidium spore that will release the spore, and then the spore will disperse and germinate again to form a haploid mycelia, and then the cycle will continue again and again. And this is a fairy ring, okay, an example of um, basidium mycota. So what is fairy ring? As you can see, the fungi form a ring here. Fairy ring is a lawn disease that caused by a certain type of fungus that results from a certain types of fungi, um, and then the effect are the dead grass. Once they grow on the grass cannot grow in that certain area, and it will cause a bare patch and uneven coloring of the grass growth. And also, once the fairy ring is established on the lawn or on your gardens or on your field, they cannot they cannot be removed. It's very hard to remove them. Okay, so I think that's all for today, class. So remember, 5 types of fungi: Cytridiomycota, Glomeromycota, Zycomycota, Ascomycota, and Basidiomycota. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you, class. See you next week.